rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
Tammy Duckworth. We'll come back to that. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora.
Good morning, Aurora.
How are you guys doing? It is 8 o'clock in the morning, and you made it. You're here.
It's Friday.
It is Friday.
You made it to the end of the week.
We made it. All of you did it.
It was a shorter week if you were one of those lucky people to have a traditional office-y type job, and probably
right. And you got Monday off.
And a normal flipping week for everybody else, right?
Yeah, some of you worked. I know some of you, and you worked on Monday, so salty, you know. But we're here for you. I was working Monday too, so we're all in the same boat.
Not
but
me.
We
Not
made
me.
it.
I got one of them fancy government jobs, so
we did do it. Martrell Webb is here. Good morning, sir. Good morning, Josue. Hit the claps for all these people. Good morning, all of you wonderful. Look at you. Look at all these people. All right, so it is another Friday, and we have Jeanette splaining today, and Good Morning,
Hi.
Aurora.
That's me.
And we have a lot of things to talk about and cover today.
We have all the things.
One of the things we have to talk about is something that we mentioned yesterday to you guys. So we'd like to know your opinion on this, and it is fireworks. And penalties. If you heard the brief part of my rant yesterday, you would have heard me say that fireworks starting 3 days before the firework day and then continuing 3 days after, it's kind of getting old. What do you guys think? But what do we got? What do we got going on, Jeanette? Let us know.
I mean, I say that 3 days before and after is a blessing compared to last year, right? Like last year, the fireworks they went on all summer, right? They started and then just never stopped for the entire summer. So by comparison, this year was better. But still, my poor traumatized dog has spent the past, solid month just, downing anti-anxiety meds, like a 1950s housewife, right?
Yeah.
It's not good. She's just baked out of her mind right now. And, her little peanut brain is already, it can't take much more, guys. Just shaking.
All the dogs. Martrell says they were lit. Jennifer Ryan Mayton, good morning to you, you great person, you. And Tia Dumdi, good morning as well. I don't like. I'm done with the fireworks now. But it's not just the fireworks. It's not your garden variety, M80. It's the mortars. It's all the other stuff.
Yeah. It's like a war zone.
Yeah,
it needs in our neighborhood right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the city council has started talking about increasing penalties for fireworks.
Right.
And that's the story that we're actually skirting around and / getting at. But some of them are pretty upset, and for good reason. There was one older person, was it Shakita or Juani? One of them had said, so neighboring wards had said that, I'm pulling up the article, guys. Hold on.
I think her windows were broken.
Yeah, that windows were broken. That the fireworks were so flippin' loud that somebody had their windows shattered as a result of them. And it's not just a local issue. You feel it locally, but it's... it was in Juani Garza's, so in our ward, right? Ward 2, shout out. It's not just a local issue. Fireworks are legit dangerous. They set houses on fire every year. There were 2 houses that went up in Texas this year because some neighbors set off some fireworks and they landed on the roof and it just went up in flames. There were that famous hockey player died from a fire. Did you hear about that one?
Wayne Gretzky?
No, it was not Wayne Gretzky. I don't know the sports people. I don't know the sports ball. I know that hockey doesn't have a sports ball. It has a sports puck. But yeah, apparently a professional hockey player died as a result of a fireworks explosion, like a backyard show gone wrong.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
This year or?
This year, yeah, like this past week. So they are dangerous.
Shout out to Gates Elementary School.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Cool.
Keep going, my bad.
So they are dangerous. They are also super fun. So like I'll grant you that. They're super fun. I did spend a summer in Indiana where they are fully legal, and you can basically explode anything in Indiana, and they're like, yeah,
Right.
all right. But so I have lit fireworks before. It's kind of cool, but like in dense neighborhoods, it's just I don't think it's appropriate. So the city.
And plus, when are you gonna stop? Like when?
Yeah.
Like what's the really
like
deal?
Look, I would even like cut a deal with people and say, okay, we're gonna make shooting off your own fireworks legal for these 2 days out of the year or something. Like you do it on 4th of July, all right, fine. I will drug my dog up for the 4th of July. No, I guess it's fine. Get it out of your system.
Right.
But not on a Tuesday at 3 a.m. That's not acceptable. That's just not nice.
Good morning, Aisha Saxon. Yes, it is not. And
Just be nice, people.
There's actually so according to the article, illegal fireworks been the 4th of July. Illegal fireworks around the 4th of July holiday have always been an issue in Aurora, just as in other municipalities. Quote, this year seemed to be worse. According to the mayor, this is what got me. Quote, we have moved from activating Aurora to experiencing Aurora.
How do I know?
Who's writing his zingers? That is the best little thing. We've moved from activating Aurora to experiencing Aurora.
And the
but not everyone is so positive.
And the
Who is writing
experience of Aurora is apparently things exploding.
Yeah. Who is writing for him? Like that was a good one. That was a really good zinger right there. That's the kind of thing you get elected on. Time is now 8:07. So yeah, what do you guys think about the stiff penalties though? But
because they haven't really proposed any specific ones yet. Currently, the fine for illegal fireworks is $250. Of course, the thing is, in order for the cops to actually impose that fine, they have to like see it happen, right? You can't just like. Because the nature of fireworks is that you shoot them off and then they go wherever and then there's no proof of who shot it off. So, like, you just call on your neighbor, and if you don't like your neighbor, you can say that it was them or whatever, right? So the cops actually have to see it. So they're suggesting higher fines. They're suggesting even jail time. I doubt that would happen. But my sense is that what you actually want here is, like, something that scales a lot. So, like, currently, if, like, the cops have to see you shoot it off, and then you could get a $250 fine, but usually what the cops do is just kind of, like, give you a stern talking to, especially for a first offense. Like, what if we shifted it like they did with, like, cannabis before it became legal here? Remember, we decriminalized cannabis, and suddenly it went from, like, an arrest to a ticket? Like, no? Okay.
No.
Technically, okay, so for white people, it went from an arrest to a ticket.
There you go.
There you go.
Hit the claps for that.
All right. So, but, there it is. Okay. So, you could change the fireworks fines so that if cops just have, like, a pretty good suspicion that you set off the fireworks, you get a $50 ticket, and you get and like, you know, if there's like shells all over your like front yard or whatever, right? Like, and if you just, and maybe that's a better way to do it, because then they can actually issue a lot more of them. Because right now you call, it takes 20 minutes, half an hour, because it's not an emergency, right? For the cops to come out. And of course your neighbors are done shooting them off by then. And so they can't actually do anything. And so you just have cops like driving all over town, like not seeing people shoot off fireworks. So what if we changed it so that they were allowed to give out like tickets for the reasonable suspicion that probably you've been shooting off a whole bunch of fireworks?
Mayor Irvin said he hopes the department can come up with a law that not only helps Aurora, but can be a model for all other municipalities where illegal fireworks are a problem. Alderman Bug pointed out that in addition to noise complaints, there is a danger with unsupervised fireworks being used by people who are not licensed to deal with explosives. While Aurora did not report any major injuries this year, there have been many in the past. Not licensed to deal with explosives.
Yeah. Matis,
it's like every 13-year-old kid in the world.
Yeah, because that's what fireworks are, right? They're just explosives.
They are.
Yeah.
Yes,
They are bombs.
Pivlenieks, an NHL goaltender. He's 24 years old. For the Blue Jackets, the Columbus Blue Jackets. I don't know anything about the hockey, but he passed away this past week because they fireworks shot off and killed him. So
that's terrible.
It's awful, right?
Well,
we don't want that happening here.
Well, we want all of you listeners out there to be safe. But let us know what you think. Should the fines get bigger? Should there be more penalties for fireworks? Should one spend time in jail, ultimately, for illegal fireworks? The time is now 8:11. So before I give you we have news on jobs again.
We do.
So when we tell you to apply for something, you need to do that. Hopefully one of you listeners applied to the job that's at the police station. You can report back to us if you got it.
Please let us know.
And then we will be in continual talks.
And then you can hang out at our house when our neighbor is shooting off fireworks, and you can just hand that ticket out. Hand that ticket out.
Now, in addition to that,
every day,
there's a hiring issue that we want to go over as well, because there's whiny articles about how businesses can't find people. But hotels, for an example, are only paying people $12 an hour. Who's working for $12?
Who's doing this? Okay.
Dollars an hour.
So here's my thing. This is what grinds my gears this week, right? If we were doing that segment, we're not doing that segment. But I feel like this entire week has been the unemployment dropping.
Oh, I like that, Dora. Go ahead.
Yeah?
Yeah, keep going.
Okay.
We'll come back to Dora. Yeah, that's right.
Back to Dora.
Good morning, Dora.
Don't worry, Dora. We got you. So, no, it's been this over the past week, right? Unemployment numbers have fallen a little bit, but which is great. But this big news is this story that I feel like every news outlet has done this week is, well, unemployment numbers are falling, but and then people can't hire. They can't find people for their jobs, right? Especially in the hospitality industry. So restaurants, hotel chains, anything that is, tourism-y or hospitality industry related. Every single news outlet has had the hotel owner or the restaurant owner or whatever store complaining that they can't find enough people story. And here is just what I have to say to you, which is this is not a story, people. Or it is, but you've got the headline wrong. The headline is not restaurants can't find people. The headline is restaurants, hotel owners pay crap, offer no benefits, and then expect people to work on call for them at all sorts of insane hours for $12 an hour. It's a long headline. That wouldn't work as a headline, but that's the headline, right?
Right.
The story, and we've talked about this on the show before, which is that we are seeing this shift in people who are unwilling to go back to jobs that don't treat them well and aren't worth their time because you had some time off. You followed a passion project, maybe started a business or something like that, and you're not willing to go back to $12 an hour. So a lot of times the story is getting skewed in the news too, and people are being well, the Delta variant has popped back up. Maybe people are afraid of getting sick. Okay, maybe. But I really don't think that's the issue. I really think the issue, right? Because people at this point, if they're vaccinated, they're not worried about the variants. If they're not vaccinated, they're still probably not worried about the variants, even if they should be. Go get your vaccine. But the real issue here is you can't keep paying people nothing and treating them like crap. So one of the stories that came up, and this is down in one of the Kendall County newspapers, was interviewing a hotel owner who was complaining that he couldn't find anybody for his front desk. And so I looked up the ad for the front desk job. The front desk job pays $12 an hour, offers no health insurance, is an on-call position, which means you're going to be called up any time of the day or night and have to go, or you've got hours that you can be called up any time of the day or night, and because it's a 24-hour operation, right?
Right.
So, no, who wants to do that?
I mean, if this was the 80s and you were a kid, that would be a good job.
Yeah, look, actually, a hotel front desk is a great job because, like, it's not that taxing. You get to meet a lot of people. It's fine, right? Like, you're sitting at a front desk and the hours suck. Like, I did this when I worked for my dorm back in college or whatever. But like $12 an hour doesn't pay anybody anything.
Yeah, no, those wages are not applicable with trying to live a good life at all.
Not acceptable.
Now on the fireworks, Dora said, "How about the citizen complainant signed the ticket, no jail?" That's a pretty good idea. I like that. I kind of like that. You'll be outing your neighbor. But
yeah, here's my thing. Part of the reason I call it so I'm always really conflicted when it comes to fireworks and calling the cops, right? Because there's all of these tensions in communities of color for very valid reasons, and calling cops in sometimes creates way more problems than it should. But also, I don't want to start the fight with my neighbor, and say, hey, stop shooting off your fireworks, because then if they don't, and then I call the cops, and they'll be like, oh, well, we know who called the cops, right?
I would never, even as much as I dislike the fireworks going off, I would never, well, first of all, I don't call police, but I would never call the police on my neighbor for fireworks, even if it was 5:08 a.m., because I just think that, call the police over fireworks is still I'm just dealing with an idiot, not a person who's not a person
criminal.
Who's really they're not really rocking my boat too much in life. I mean, it's really stupid, it's immature, highly unprofessional, and if I ever saw this guy applying for my job and I'm looking at his resume and I know he's firework guy, I probably would discriminate, not hire him. But no, I wouldn't call the police over fireworks.
Right.
I couldn't do that.
I want something in between cops.
Actually,
let
me take that back.
Yeah?
Because in case I run for something one day, I don't want people to hear that. I would never discriminate on anybody who applied for a job.
I don't think that discriminating against let me take that back. Well, I don't think that jerk who sets off fireworks at 3 a.m. is a protected class of people.
Yeah. But just say, fair hiring practices are always followed.
Yes.
And the time is now 8:18 a.m.
Moving on.
Okay. Norma Peterson says, tell it, Jeanette. And I do agree with the, but we talked about this before, as you mentioned, though. It's really a no-brainer. Nobody on earth is going to work for anything less than what they feel they should work for. And that was even before the pandemic.
Right. But I think the pandemic has created this new space for people to be to look back on that wage work situation and say, nah, right? So I was listening to a fascinating story on the NPR yesterday about how this snapback in the labor force is basically completely predictable and also happened after, get this, wait for it, the Black Death of the 13th century in Europe, right? So half of the people died in the Black Death, right? From the plague, from the rats and the fleas and the whatnot. Which left a shortage of peasants. And so then peasants started demanding higher wages for whatever it is that peasants do, working out in fields, or they went into the cities and got better jobs there. So this is not an unpredictable situation that we are in. It also made the fascinating point that many of the innovations that came as a result of this economic situation, because suddenly you didn't have peasants to beat wool into fabric, and you didn't have peasants to or scribes to like copy books. So one of the things that we got out of it was the Gutenberg press. So the entirety of like printing presses in the Western world is owed to the fact that the Black Death wiped out all the peasants. And suddenly someone was like, I wonder if I could make a machine that could replace these peasants. And then they did, and now we have the Gutenberg press.
I'm kind of worried that, like, so now because the people no one's going to want to work, for whatever reasons, valid or not. Yeah, there's just going to be like more robots now, and then there won't be any jobs.
Yeah, so this has been a concern for the
AI, the machines are going to take over.
This has been, okay, first of all, that's a triggering thought for me. I do have like my one future scenario that I'm actually really terrified about is like a Terminator scenario. Like nothing else. No other horror movies bother me, but Terminator kind of gets me for some reason. But not for the robots are taking our jobs sort of issue. And here's why. So 200 years, like this question of like, are the robots going to take our jobs and put us all out of work? Is not a question. It's a certainty, basically. What's funny though is that they've been predicting this for like 200 years now. Will mechanization put us out of work? Well, first of all, mechanization, I guess, put those scribes out of work or whatever. Guess what we found? We've found new jobs since the 12th century. And so that's one thing, right? Is that the workforce just shifts in its perspective, in what it needs to do. The other thing is, like 100 years ago, 200 years ago, what futurists were talking about, what they said was going to be the biggest issue facing humanity is all these robots are going to take our work. And then the average human will only need to work 4 hours a week or something like that. And then what will their idle minds do? People will just devolve into depravity because they'll have, or meaninglessness, and we'll all just have severe depression because we don't work enough. And that didn't really pan out. So
yeah, that's something I don't think could happen.
Because what happened instead was we put out the same amount of output these days that we did then. We put out more output as a country, right? As a world, we create more stuff, usually more like plastic crap to like sell and ship around the world. So we create more output and more product. Now it's just like, what you're expected to do in a day or accomplish in a day is far beyond what you ever expected to accomplish like 50 years ago. That's why if you ever have like an old timer like who was in your industry like stop back in the office like these days, they kind of look around and go, oh my God, because like if you were, say, a journalist 100 years ago, you were expected to file a story every day or a couple days or every week or something, or like you do like an investigative piece and you'd be in there for a really long time and you'd have to like write it out by hand, and then it would go through like 3 like copy editors, and it was this whole long process, right? And now it's just like I'm at a thing and I send out a tweet, like so you're writing stories like constantly, right? You write 3 stories a day. That's not uncommon. So it's just our productivity increases. So the robots are not going to put us out of work. They will continually shift to the kind of jobs we are asked to do. But honestly, like a kiosk at the front desk of a hotel probably could like replace a human for a job that nobody wants to do. So is that...
And with jobs, we have jobs that are being
we do have jobs
offered right now. So
jobs
Mutual
that robots
Ground
cannot do.
is hiring. We told you guys about this yesterday. You can go to mutualground.org/about/careers. But they're hiring for a wide range of positions. Clinical manager for their substance use services, financial specialist, prevention educator, 2 types of prevention educators actually, with substance use prevention and violence prevention education, a relief advocate, weekends, on-call, therapist for family counseling, therapist for counseling services, a therapist for family services, a therapist for counseling services, and a 3rd shift part-time victim advocate for their residential services. Shouts out to our friends of Mutual Ground. That's really good stuff.
Amazing work. And these are the kinds of jobs you want to have, right? These are the kinds of jobs that people want to work because admittedly they don't pay like a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. They sure pay an awful lot more than that sad hotel, guys. Come on now. But they pay a living wage and also have a great deal of meaning. These are the people who are in your schools educating young people on identifying signs of abuse, right? Teaching kids like healthy relationships with each other. These are the people who are there like in the middle of the night when a battered woman, man or woman, comes into the shelter and needs someone to talk to and to help them, right? These are good jobs. Go get these jobs.
Right. Now also, so this weekend, there's a lot going on. Give you guys some quick news before we move on to the next topic. Don't forget, Cottonseed Creative Exchange, 8 North Broadway. They're having a sidewalk sale. So today, tomorrow, and Sunday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And can you get one of them fancy shirts that you got there?
That's right. Yeah. You can get your GMA shirts there, too.
That's right.
Vintage items, home decor, both new and old. And also, we have L News, young man. L News.
L News.
All right. So, thank you, Victoria. You're an awesome person.
No.
Come on out to the vendor fair at Luigi's tomorrow, 10 a.m. to 3. So she doesn't have to try to find a real job. Support independent
That's
authors.
right. That's
Word
the
up.
other thing that's
Word
happening.
up.
That's the big story that we're not talking about is people starting businesses and stuff. That's great.
It is. Now, also tomorrow, Marie Wilkinson's Community Garden has their ribbon cutting. Don't forget about that. Join for the official ribbon cutting of the new Playful Learning installation at Marie Wilkinson's Community Garden. That'll be from 10 a.m. to noon, 834 North Highland Avenue. And it's brought to us by Playful Learning, Chicago Children's Museum, Fox Valley United Way, and Spark. Shouts out to all of those great, awesome people. The time is now 8:26 a.m. Okay. So now, Habitat for Humanity
is the best.
Now, they do a lot of good stuff.
They are the best, and we just wanted to shout them out because they dedicated their 66th and 67th homes this week, which is amazing. On Wednesday, I guess it was last week, right? But they had a big ceremony, and they celebrated completing a duplex on Grove Street on the near east side of Aurora, so in our neighborhood, which is amazing. And the way that Habitat for Humanity works is that you have all of these faith-based organizations that come together and community organizations that come together to do these builds. But the people who are actually getting the homes, they put in what's called sweat equity. So they are building their homes too. So it's not just like, here, have a free home. It's like people are still working for them. But just like in a world of bad news, I just wanted to like celebrate that there are people in our community who are just like, hey, you need a house? Let's get you a house, right?
Yeah, we've you guys have heard us talk about the good news that they do a couple times on the show. So an outdoor ceremony, the faith-based affordable housing ministry celebrated completion of a duplex, as mentioned. Habitat broke ground on the 19th for the two-family home. Homeowners are the Nibatanga family of Aurora, original natives of Burundi, which is in East Africa, the Afghanzada family of Aurora, natives of Afghanistan. Shouts out to our dear friends of the Fox Valley Habitat for Humanity.
And you can support them by looking them up on the internet and donating your time or your money. Fox Valley Habitat for Humanity is a great organization.
It is.
Yes.
It is. Y'all can. All right. So there were some speakers that I saw, but then there's also this where I saw a name. Hold on. Genesis Community Church.
Yes. Yeah.
I think they've checked in with us before.
Oh, I think so too. The pastor there is I want to say he's the board, the guy in charge of the board for he runs for Humanity. They've been big leaders in that organization.
Very cool. Shouts out to Habitat.
I was too quiet. Okay.
All right. So I want to put a quick flag in the conversation and go back and highlight what Dora mentioned. So Dora said, so we talked about fireworks, and you guys can still let us know in the chat how do you feel about penalties increasing for illegal fireworks use in the city. Dora said, Stop calling the police for fireworks if you do not want the neighbors to know you called. Can't expect enforcement if the police have to be the bad guys all the time. You know, Dora, here's the thing. I just said that yesterday. If you go back to our conversation that we had with Sandra Gonzalez, I said the same exact thing. But that conversation was on ice and not about fireworks. But you're right. You can't, you know what? You can't exist in two. You can't duck, right? And you didn't see nothing, you don't know nothing, but you still want to call it. Doesn't work like that. No. You got to be all in. You can't be on the fence.
Here is what I would rather see. Like, and maybe this is what policing was originally intended to be. I don't know. But we need something between scary people with guns, and which is not all cops, but is like when you call the cops is absolutely a possibility of what you're going to get. Like, you're going to get a person with a gun, right? Well trained and all that, but still. And me having to deal with it. I need an in-between. I need a peacekeeper to just come and be like, guys, just like stop it with the fireworks, or a variety of other things. So there are cities that have been experimenting for a very long time, and hopefully more of them, as we've been kind of rethinking what we want policing to look like in this country, with a sort of a secondary like force that's not even a force, that's like group that can intercede on issues that are like we call the cops for but aren't really like law enforcement issues. So in Eugene, Oregon, it's called Cahoots, and they're this group of people who are employed by the city, and it's sort of, they work in collaboration with the cops. And what they do is they take the calls that are clearly like mental health related, or just like, hey, this guy's acting super weird, can someone go talk to him? Or like things that could escalate into a cop issue, but often are not necessarily cop issues to begin with. And right. So, and their whole job is to kind of like de-escalate. So, and they take something like 10% of the calls that Eugene, Oregon does. And a lot of times they provide like basic like first aid, or they like transport someone who needs to go to a place, some stuff like that. Like basically just how do we de-escalate this situation without having to call the cops in? And it ends up being really cost effective for them to have these people who are usually, there's like one person who's kind of like an EMT basic, and one person who's like a mental health professional or a counselor or something like that, who like they address the situation without it blowing up into a big thing. So wouldn't it be nice if you could just call and be like, no, I just need the guy to come and like talk to these people, you know, not right. Like threaten, just be like, just. Yeah.
We'll get there someday, hopefully.
Someday. I think it's, as we talk about this, like defunding the police, like conversation, right, that gets really like heated and contentious. I feel like there's this middle ground for what if we did something like that, where it's actually kind of in a way additive to what the police are doing, but allows them to concentrate more on like solving actual crimes, and then gives more space to like more services to the community, so that when you call 911, your options are not like firefighter and cop. There's like this third, like, hey, I just need someone to talk to for a sec, or someone to talk to this person for a sec. Yeah.
The time is now 8:33. So we got health stuff to talk about. And then I want to say a little thing about this Biden thing. All right, but we got health. There is an event about art and getting your vaccine. We highlighted a little bit of this yesterday, you guys. Back the Vax is the name of this thing. Have you guys heard about it? Well, if you tuned in yesterday, you did. You can get a COVID-19 shot while you paint. Well, I don't know if that's exactly how it's going to run.
You can get a COVID-19 shot, and then a confetti cannon will go off.
Right, yeah.
Which is actually kind of fun. I don't know that it's how I make all of my medical decisions, whether or not there's a confetti cannon, although it would make trips to the doctor just generally way more entertaining. So it's happening July 31st. Well, let's get the details out of the way first, right? It's happening July 31st. It is from 4 to 10, and I think it's Water Street Mall. Is that where they're doing it?
Yes.
Yeah. So Water Street Square across from City Hall. So down there, kind of like the parking lots, whatever. So it's one of these efforts to try and get creative to get people who so far have not gotten their shot for whatever reason to consider it. And at this point, I'm kind of like, yeah, let's just throw spaghetti at the wall and see what works, right? Like, let's and see what sticks, you know? Like, is it confetti cannons? Is that what's going to do it? I don't know. But am I glad that we're trying weird stuff? I guess.
I mean, something's better than nothing. We have to get the numbers of vaccination up for folks. So yeah, this will be downtown, and it comes after President Biden renewed his calls for Americans to get vaccinated, which he was in Crystal Lake, and I want to talk about
in Crystal Lake
this
this
thing
week.
he did. But apparently, more than 72 vaccination projects are planned for the summer around the state. Interesting. And Aurora Public Art Director Jen Evans said the city was approached about hosting this by the Illinois Arts Alliance.
Yeah, so this is an effort to harness the arts to advance, other causes in society. And so I guess the thought behind it is there's a little bit of there's herd immunity, but there's a little like herd mentality thing that I think that they're trying to capitalize on too, right? Because people, when they're deciding to get their vaccines, are largely doing it based on what everybody around them, like the people who they're close to, are doing, right? So some people get their information from their doctors, some people get their information from like their faith leaders and stuff like that, and some people are just like, oh, all my friends are doing it, so I guess I'm doing it too. And I think this is meant to capitalize on that, right? So you're going to this cool thing. You're seeing all these artists who are coming out in favor of vaccines. You're like, well, I'm an artsy person. I'm creative. Like, they're all doing it. Like, maybe this is what we're all supposed to be doing, right?
According to a press release from Aurora Public Art, local entertainment promoter Jalen Woodson of We Vibe 2 Vibe will be bringing local hip-hop, soul, gospel, and rap musicians to the event. Other curators include Chicano, a.k.a. Jorge Gutierrez, who is looking forward to promoting Aurora's Latino culture with DJs, Spanish rap, and traditional Mexican music, and more. And Javi Terrazas, longtime art bar curator, will be producing a collection of local art in a free publication available at the festival to be entitled Vaccine. That's
Get
cool.
it? It's like a zine, right? Like the old school, like, P.S. I love a good zine. I follow like zine, like Quimby's, the bookstore, which like sells all the zines. I love a good zine. Yeah, it's like the Vaccine, like a magazine sort of thing. Anyway, okay. So
Maria Chirito is here. Good morning, you awesome person, you. And Dan Barrero is here. Good morning. Clap for these great people. Clap for both of these.
There it is.
Wonderful individuals.
So yeah, I think we're all just kind of at a loss now. We're basically sitting. I think I looked up the stats today, and the whole country is about 47% vaccinated. And so now it's just kind of like, all right, what do we do now? I think that we might see some, now that this Delta variant is reemerging and people are realizing that it's the odds of them catching this, because our numbers are starting to slide back up, right, of people getting sick from coronavirus, people getting hospitalized. I think you might start to see a few more people move and decide to get their vaccine. I don't know if confetti cannons are how to do it, but man, if you want a confetti cannon, I'm here for it. Go ahead. Wear your mask from now until the end of July.
Whatever it takes for you to be healthy.
Yes.
All right. Take responsibility for your surroundings. Get to know people and talk to each other. Let's get off social media and learn who our neighbors are. Amen to that. The time is now 8:39 a.m.
I now want a confetti cannon every time I make a healthy decision. Like every time, like when I eat my salad for lunch, instead of like going to, Jimmy John's or whatever. No shade. But like when I eat or like when I go for a run, like I want a confetti cannon for like a completed.
Very motivating for large parts of our population. All right. So we got some news real quick before we get into the next topic. time to fall in love with your kitchen again with Shelf Genie. And Aurora Downtown is once again hosting Wednesdays at the Plaza to free comers from. All right, hold on.
Free summer concert series.
Free summer concert series.
Wednesdays at the Plaza has been going on for a very long time, thanks to the delightful Marissa Amoni, who always figures this out every year.
Yep.
And it's Millennium Plaza. It's that little on Stolp Avenue, that little gazebo-y thing, which, fun fact, is where BTP and I first met like a bajillion years ago.
I thought it was in high school.
Yeah. But what were we doing in high school?
Was it there?
Yeah.
I thought it was like at actual school.
No. So many moons ago, Brent, the producer, and I used to hang out at Millennium Plaza and did way lamer stuff than watching cool concerts.
So the free series begins on Wednesday the 14th, and it runs through August 11th. All concerts are from 7 to 9 p.m. Harvey's Firebox is the visiting food truck on the 14th and the 21st of July. And then on August 11th, the 14th, we have Mirabelle Skipworth. She's a friend of the show with opener Nick Weisner.
She is
July
sister of
21st.
A former intern of mine, Skipworth's great family.
Very cool. WDCB Jazz presents the Chris Green Quartet, the Darling Sons with opener Peyton Kay. And on that's the 28th of July. August 4th, we have the Heavy Lifting.
Shout out to Jake and Chad and their other guy, whose name I don't know.
And the 11th of August is the Aurora Latin Band with Aurora Latin Band, with Los Colores de mi Tierra Dance Group.
There you
awesome.
Go. All right.
Also, this Saturday, the Fishing Derby, the Youth Fishing Derby. Very cool. We told you guys about this. All skill levels are welcome. Fishing poles will be available if needed. There'll be food, prizes, and fishing. This is brought to us by the Fox Valley Park District with many great sponsors. This Saturday, July 10th at Jericho Lake in Aurora. There is a link, which I will put in the chat for you guys so that you can check it out. And we're going to hit you with something else, but I got to tell you some more news before we go today. The time is now 8:42 a.m. Who's going to River Edge tonight?
What's at River Edge tonight?
What's happening at River's Edge tonight? Oh, what's the band, Norma? What's the band that's playing tonight? Hold on, where's that news?
We're looking it up.
Hold on, who are those people who are playing at River Edge tonight?
Is it a tribute band?
Probably. Are you going, Norma? That would be all that we needed.
July 9th, it's One of These Nights, the Eagles tribute band.
One of These Nights, Eagles tribute band is playing tonight at River's Edge.
If you're into the Eagles, tonight's One of These Nights.
Only $5.
Nice.
Only $5.
That's a bargain.
All right.
The Eagles
now
tribute band.
Let me see here. Woo. So now the next topic that we're going to tell you guys about is something that is equally as important. Something that you should definitely be aware of. And that's, you can see a therapist or a dentist now if you're poor in Illinois.
Yay!
A new state law augmenting Medicaid's range of services. What's up with that?
Well, yeah, so let's temper that statement just a little bit because that is me writing sarcastically and on the fly. But so the governor signed a new Senate bill recently, and it expands what Medicaid covers and also expands some of the services that will be provided around the community. So so Medicaid, there's a core number of services that have to be covered, like doctor's visits and stuff like that have to be covered nationally, but then states can add stuff, basically. And one of the things that they are doing is in Illinois, and this passed bipartisan, that it was a bipartisan vote, which never happens most places. The bill will allow more things to be covered. So if you are a poor person who is on Medicaid, you can now go to the doctor and get things covered that you previously couldn't. So It includes tobacco cessation programs. So if you are trying to quit smoking and you want to see a doctor for that, or like go to like a group thing or whatever, you can do that. And it requires inpatient treatment for people experiencing opioid overdose or withdrawal if it's medically necessary. So if you are overdosing on heroin or Oxycontin or whatever, you actually get to like be in a hospital with a doctor, which seems pretty great to me, right? Because like before, like, okay, that's a rough spot to be in. Let's give people that second chance of not dying and getting their lives back on track, right? It covers kidney transplant medication, regardless of whether or not you are a citizen, because probably people still need kidneys, even if they have even if they're immigrants or whatever.
Right.
So that's all great. The other big news out of this is that it's hopefully the plan is for it to expand access to therapy for poor people. So like mental health services. Mm-hmm. So right now therapy does get covered by Medicaid in Illinois. There's no one flipping offering therapy services to poor people. Because therapists can make more money and get bigger reimbursements if they only take your typical health insurance or cash payments. So a lot of therapists do not take Medicaid, and if you are trying to get therapy, it can be a very long waiting list to get into someone who will take your Medicaid and give you behavioral health services. And now what they are doing as a result of this law is expanding. They're creating, what did he call it, community behavioral health centers or networks or whatever. Basically, they're expanding access. So hopefully, as a result of this bill, what we will see, hopefully, is more therapists working in poor neighborhoods or accepting Medicaid, so that people who, because of the poor, experience higher levels of trauma and higher levels of stress and all of these things because you have to make more difficult decisions because you are poor, will now have access to those critical services. So going back to our conversations about when do you want cops to show up and when do you want not a cop to show up, but somebody to help you, this is one avenue. Getting people the help that they need helps communities overall in lots of different ways, not just because it keeps all of their residents sane, which is excellent, but sane residents have more options and better outcomes in life and are less likely to end up in criminal justice systems. And so you're likely to see things like crime go down when you get people's basic needs met, like mental health care and physical health care and food and whatnot. Anyway.
The time is now 8:47 a.m. So Dan says he's going. Norma's going. Are you going? Everybody's going.
Everybody's going to the Eagles show tonight.
Hyla Maldonado may be going.
To the Eagles tribute band show tonight.
That is absolutely wonderful. You guys have a good time tonight out there. And as a matter of fact, Norma, if you take pics, send them to your boy. The time is now 8:47. So real quick, because I looked at this yesterday, but I actually didn't see somebody I really care for. And now I'm looking at this picture, and I wonder how I missed her. So I want to give a quick shout out to Senator Tammy Duckworth.
Okay. What's she up to?
Tammy Duckworth was with President Biden in Crystal Lake with Mayor Lightfoot and Lauren Underwood. I'm sorry.
You can get there. There's a lot of L names.
Right. So they were there to promote education and infrastructure. But, Tammy Duckworth is a person, for those unfamiliar with her story, she wrote a great book. She was a helicopter pilot in Iraq and was shot down and lost both of her legs. However, she has since not persevered. She has dominated life and is on top as a leader in America. So hit the claps for Tammy Duckworth, because Tammy Duckworth really deserves it.
Yeah.
Shouts out to Tammy Duckworth.
Yeah, a few years ago, she gave birth at the age of 50. Mm-hmm. 50. The woman has no legs, right? And is still forget it. I can definitely raise a baby. Like, and then manage to get pregnant and give birth to a healthy baby girl while she was in like Congress. Like,
right.
She was in the Senate. She was like, yeah, I can handle this.
Man, what? she's an awesome person. That's the kind of dedication that we need to see more of out here in the world. The time is now 8:49. Okay. So a couple of pieces of quick news for you guys that is very important today. I would be remiss if I didn't tell you guys the Aurora area Interfaith Food Pantry, 6 o'clock to 8 p.m. today in the at 970 North Lake Street, former Carson Perry Scott Northgate Plaza. Food for 200 families will be available on a first come basis. Items include everything from granola bars to pasta sauce, eggs, and ground beef. Interfaith partners with Fox Valley Park District, Calvary Church of Naperville, and Blessings in a Backpack Chicago to provide free groceries and other items to local families at the pop-ups.
Nice.
Next, the 20th annual AEEF benefit golf outing. That's the Aurora East Education Foundation is Thursday the 15th at Phillips Park Golf Course. The public is invited. The schedule is from 11 a.m. There's registration. Box lunch at 12:30, shotgun scramble 5, dinner is at 5:30, and the award program follows that. The purpose of the event is to raise funds for many grants to support student scholarships and event education-focused projects by faculty. They distributed 1,000 scholarships to 18 East High seniors last spring and planned many grants to teachers and staff this fall. Included in the entry fee are 18 holes of golf with a cart, gift package, box lunch, refreshments, social hour, dinner, and prizes. Shouts out. Dinner is only $35. Registration is limited to 124 golfers. The link will be in the chat in about 84 seconds. All right.
Exactly 84.
What is
Get on a BTP.
Right. What is
Countdown.
The last thing that we had to talk about? We had something. What was it?
What was the last thing? Are we talking student loans? Is that what we're
That's
talking?
what it was.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's
student
what it
loans.
was. Okay, so this is sort of like a PSA announcement for those of you unlucky fools like me who have federal student loans. So if you have been following along with the news, there was a pandemic. And then as a result of that, none of us with federal student loans had to pay for a pretty long time, right?
Uh-huh.
Like we're still on this like moratorium where we just don't have to pay our student loans, which has been magical. Who among us, raise your hand or shout out in the chat if you've been like actually saving money or like affording to eat and stuff all of a sudden now that you don't have to pay your student loans. It's been great. That ends in October 1st is when you're going to have to start making payments again so far.
Good
now,
morning, Josue.
Here's the deal. So yesterday the announcement came through that one of the biggest and I follow the student loans are like my Google News like topic, like go like it's the number one like following this topic. So yesterday FedLoan, which is the Pennsylvania Higher Education Assistance Agency, is one of the biggest servicers of student loans federal student loans in the country. And oh man, we're getting on the juice. We're getting juicy over here.
You got it.
That's right. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. Okay, so anyway, the biggest federal student loan servicer in the country is not renewing its contract with the Department of Ed. So they've been under a lot of scrutiny because of this program called Public Service Loan Forgiveness, which allows bureaucrats like me, but also people like teachers and firefighters and police officers and people who work for nonprofits that provide essential services for people, like all of those people out working for the public good. This is a program that is supposed to allow you to get rid of your student loans after 10 years. And so the first people to become eligible for that the program started in 2007. So the first people to become eligible,
Jose, you crazy. Word up.
Became eligible in 2017 to get their student loans forgiven. And since then, only like 1% of people in this program have actually gotten their loans forgiven. So it's been kind of bunk. And so the current administration has not been particularly happy with their performance. I think that whole relationship fell apart. So what that means is if you have student loans with FedLoan, what I would advise you to do is to download all of your information, because what's about to happen is they're going to switch you from this company to another company. And if you've ever been through a student loan servicer switch, there's all kinds of data that gets lost and things start to take forever. So if you have these loans you're on an income-based repayment plan, stuff like that, do your annual recertifications. If you are on income-based repayment, get all that paperwork done. You should be getting all that paperwork done anyway before payments resume in October, right? So just that's your PSA for the day. What this might mean, though, for everybody else with federal student loans, there's some speculation that because this is going to be such a quagmire for them to figure out, that it might put more pressure on them to extend that moratorium for us to not be paying on our student loans a little bit longer. So pay attention to the student loan news. If you've got FedLoan, take a look at your data, download it, keep it, store it, right? So you have records. And that's it. And if you don't have FedLoan, or if you just have federal student loans in general, go do yourself a favor and make sure that all of your information, everything is right, like your bank accounts, right? If you get your payments auto drafted, like make sure you're in tip-top shape, because it's very possible you will still have to start paying on student loans again in October, and you don't want to miss payments and take hits to your credit score and all of that malarkey just because the federal government and student loan servicers are a little bit evil when it comes to repaying student loans.
Dan says now is the time to pay the loans because it all goes to principal, not interest.
So
Thank
that
you, Dan,
is
very much.
Basically true, unless you are in an income-driven repayment program in which you are expecting to get a significant portion of your loans forgiven. So, for example, if you are in the public service loan forgiveness program and right now you are paying minimal payments on your student, well, right now you're paying nothing, but if when you resume, you'll make minimal payments, and then at some point, a huge chunk of your loan money is going to be forgiven, then your money might be better off in your retirement account. So generally, that is true. Speak to your accountant if you have questions, or just harangue me on the street, and I will explain your situation to you personally.
All right, the last two pieces of information. Harry Beast Dog Parlor. Do not forget, that's coming up this month. Our friends at Harry Beast are having an awesome party on Sunday the 25th. Food, cars, and really cool people. It'll be a great gathering. From noon to 5 p.m., swing by 215 West Galena Boulevard. Help celebrate the 3-year anniversary of our friends and their great business. The flyer for this event's been posted many times. Also, our dear friend, got to give a shout out to AA Electric Contractors, Peter Aguilera, a dear friend of the show. Good morning. If you need anything done in your house, with the exception of him taking out your trash, we definitely recommend AA Electric Contractors. Shouts out to Peter Aguilera, a dear friend of the show. And last but not least, our friends of the Fox Valley United Way are having their very first Halloween Hustle 5K and 1 mile fun walk. Excuse me. This will be a great fundraising event, the proceeds of which will ensure financial support for our children. The date will take place on October 7th. The event will take place on October 17th at 9 a.m. at Phillips Park. Sponsorships are available and registration is required. There's a link for that, and I'm giving it to you at this very moment. The timer is now 8:58 a.m. Okay. So
that was a whole lot of news.
I hope.
And context. And stuff.
I hope. Yeah, I hope that you guys definitely take advantage of everything that we told you about. The Mutual Ground. Mutual Ground is hiring. Make sure that you guys holler at Mutual Ground.
No, don't kill
There's
me.
a great amount of stuff happening this weekend.
What
so
you're all
please get out there and shout it out.
What you're all missing if you're not watching the video right now is there's a silverfish that just walked right in front of. Yeah, that's what it is. It just walked right in front of BTP, and it was fabulous.
Interesting.
Sorry to interrupt.
All right. So that is it for another episode of Jeanette Splaining on the second largest city's first daily news podcast. You guys Here's what I want you to do.
Oh, what's that?
I'm going to plan your weekend for you.
Okay.
You guys go out, go by Cottonseed Creative Exchange.
Yep.
Pick up your Good Morning Aurora shirt.
Yep.
Go to a restaurant sometime at night. Take pics and send those to goodmorningaurora@gmail.com.
That's right.
And stay woke.
Yes. And then in the morning.
The next dope thing. Huh?
In the morning, then go to the farmer's market.
That's right.
Yes.
Go to the farmer's market. That is right.
Your Snap/link benefits, by the way.
That is awesome. If you guys saw our story, Jeanette explained how to use the SNAP benefits.
Yeah, so if you're not following us on the Instagram, you're missing valuable information like how to get literally free money for fresh, organic, local produce.
You are.
Yeah, follow us on the Insta.
All right. So that's it. It's 9:00 a.m. and now the Clark Kent glasses come off, and we put on the Superman costume to go do that part of life.
That's right.
Take care of yourself and each other.
Adios, Aurora.
How do I know?